Terrible news from Dragonis, Lord Captain. The subsidiary hive city, Sisyphone 84-249, has been destroyed in a series of cascading failures. Production has halted, and millions of people have broken their vows of obedience and are fleeing. Many of them are perishing in the wasteland and overloading the transport lines leading to the neighboring hives. The surrounding residential sectors are becoming increasingly agitated by the influx of refugees. What is your directive regarding this distribution of those refugees? So you're telling me there's more than one hive city on this planet? That's kind of unusual. What is the cause of this catastrophe? It is still unclear. The noble houses are throwing the blame at one another. Agents of the venerable Achilles Scalander, stationed on Sisyphone 84-249, have died heroically while trying to save the population from this disaster. Their latest reports mention some vulnerabilities in the industrial sectors of the lower hive, but do not go into further detail. Additionally, all of your servants are currently busy with investigating the causes of the crisis, but are not doing anything to deal with its consequences. What say my advisors? The death of Achilles' agents troubles me. It may not be a coincidence. Until the causes of the disaster can be concretely established, I would avoid letting refugees into other hives. They may be saboteurs among them. I recommend setting up prohibitive cordons, where the refugees can continue in the wastelands be contained in the wastelands between the hives. The Emperor bids us to face the often cruel strokes of fate with dignity. If the other hives do not wish to accept the unfortunate victims of this tragedy, then let the victims themselves teach those living in the hive a lesson in resilience and humility. I am sure the ecclesiarchy will aid the refugees in constructing camps to survive out in the wastelands and establish a community of proud desert-dwelling martyrs. Such harsh conditions can be a crucible of fortitude and fearlessness. This tragedy, a feat of spirit. Highly unlikely to survive in the wastes. The wastes around hive cities are... It's not just like a desert, you know? It's pretty bad. Given that the hive city's been seriously damaged, at least, and we don't know the cause, it seems as if setting up cordons is probably the best choice, because losing one hive is catastrophic enough without losing multiple. Henrik, set up prohibitive cordons at the perimeters of the hives. I shall draft a few orders for my informants on Dragonis. The refugees quickly realized that they would not find shelter in the hives and dispersed across the wastelands. A harsh lesson in discipline has been delivered to the capital. Von Kalox's agents have run a thorough investigation to identify many of the refugees who had managed to reach and hide in the hives. Remembering how the rogue trader had treated their relatives and neighbors, they could have plotted their revenge. If only they had been expelled into the wastelands. If only they hadn't been expelled into the wastelands. Tremendous. A new hive city will be established. That makes profit factor go down. I guess building a hive city is really fucking expensive. Palace Ectasiums will be constructed on top of the ruins of Sisyphone for the aristocracy. The dead and the dying will fertilize the gardens that will ring these pleasure chambers. What's this get? To all skills? Fuck, dude. Damn. I can't lie. That's pretty fucking tight. And profit factor +2, somehow. And complacency +2. The profit factor +2 makes no fucking sense. The nobles, like, all we're doing is throwing money at the wealthy. What are they gonna do with it? They're gonna hoard the money, like the wealthy tend to do. I don't know how this increases profit factor. It seems like this should reduce it, and restoration should increase it. But maybe that's just me having a low opinion of capitalism. The Emporium. The surviving spine of Sisyphone will be rebuilt into a space elevator. It will be capped by an emporium, excepting those ships who are too heavy to land on the surface. Interesting. However, this doesn't seem to be useful really much at all. I will take the... for all colonies, though? That's a good point. But +5 to all skills and +2 profit fat. We're taking the nobility. I'm sorry. How bougie of me. Now, we must go to... This is the administratum? Yes. Alright. Turn after turn, the unceasing stream of petitioners pours through the palace doors. There's 3 of them. Pours through the palace doors. The strong-willed wait patiently while the weak-willed try everything they can to get ahead of the others. There are 3 people here. That seems a little too dramatic. Greeting protocol. Welcome to the palace of the Adeptus Administorum. Identifying. Your ladyship, please follow me. Okay.
Is there money to be made?
Pick up the pace, buddy. Continue in this direction to reach your destination. Your visit has been logged. What do we got here? Yeah. The towering piles of papers and endless shelves heaving with ledgers evoke special reverence for the laws of the God Emperor in the hearts of the servants of the Adeptus Administorum.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
You don't mind if I take some paperwork, right? Just kidding, it doesn't matter. The parchment looks grease-marked and old, as though it has passed through many, many pairs of hands. Servant of the Imperium Elias Tantanal filed a declaration with the Adeptus Administorum that he is the sole heir of the House Tanatal and the legal sovereign of the northern continent of the planet Ergona Rex. According to the submission, Elias Tantanal cannot exercise his right to this inheritance as the wider family tree includes an individual who shares his full legal name. According to the petitioner, this individual is his great-great-grandfather. Just his great-grandfather, not 2 greats, my apologies. Given the loss of documents confirming the death of the second claimant to the inheritance, Elias Tantanal is petitioning for confirmation of this relative's death and permission for the enactment of his inheritance rights. Petitioner received preliminary review period up to 15 Terran cycles. Forward for review, 23 Terran cycles, 4 turns from the date of submission. Request for a copy of the death certificate of Elias Tantanal sent to the archives of the Departamento Munitorum, 28 Terran cycles, 2 turns from date of submission. Petition rejected. 39 Terran cycles, 11 turns from date of submission. A second petition sent to the archive, 44 Terran cycles, 4 turns from date of submission. Petition arrived, 52 Terran cycles from date of submission. This is soul-crushing. After 48 repeated submissions from Elias Tantanal, a second request was sent to the archive. 79 Terran cycles, 7 turns from date of submission. Copy of death certificate of Elias Tantanal, great-grandfather to the petitioner, received. 84 Terran cycles. Spud, what are you doing? My man, you are in the wire there. Where was I? Copy of death certificate of Elias Tantanal, great-grandfather to the petitioner, received. 84 Terran cycles, 6 turns from the date of submission. Documents forwarded for formulation of decision granting permission for the enactment of the inherited rights of Elias Tantanal, sole heir of his house and legal sovereign of the northern continent of the planet Ergona Rex. 101 Terran cycles, 5 turns from date of submission. Death of Elias Tantanal recorded by servants of the Adeptus Administorum. Place of death, Q16. Willius Legacies and Inheritance. Waiting Hall. Palace of the Adeptus Administorum, Dragonis. 106 Terran cycles, 2 turns from date of submission. Death certificate of Elias Tantanal sent to the archive of the Departamento Munitorum. 114 Terran cycles, 10 turns from date of submission. Petition for the enactment of inherited rights following the death of Elias Tantanal and the insurance Issuance of a copy of the death certificate received from the deceased's daughter, Eliza Tentanile. 114 Terran cycles. 11 turns from date of submission. Damn, dude. If that don't just sum up the whole experience right there. My man was in the queue for so long, he died. The Master of Seals. Oh, fuck, let's go, man. More paperwork. Auditing and reissuance of the Great Tithe Payment documentation for GX 75021 and GX 76021 in the last 2,836 Terran cycles. Entries mentioning planet GX 75021, 284,356 found, including copies. Entries mentioning planet GX 76021, 1 found, including copies. A full list confirmed by the Adeptus Terra of all planetary objects located within the territory of the illustrious rogue trader dynasty of the Von Valancius was received 164 Terran cycles ago. After careful reconciliation of the data, it was found the planetary object GX 76021 has not been included in the collection of the Imperial Tithe for the last 2,836 Terran cycles. In the same period, the planetary object GX 75021 was included in the taxable sites but did not pay its Imperial Tithe, thereby failing to uphold its sacred obligations to the Imperium. Subsequent analysis of archived documentation revealed the absence of documentation confirming the existence of planetary object GX 75021, unlike planetary object GX 76021, which was discovered in files dated more than 2,836 cycles ago. Based on an internal inventory investigation, the Adeptus Administrorum decrees that any mention of planetary object GX 75021 must be replaced with GX 76021. The governor of planetary object GX 76021 must pay the tithe for the preceding 2,836 Terran cycles within a period of no more than 50 Terran cycles, and in the event of non-payment of the tithe within the prescribed period, planetary object GX 76021 will be seized for the needs of the Adeptus Ministorum, and 95% of the population will be immediately subjected to servitude in perpetuitas for the benefit of the Imperium. Note, a precise reckoning of the tithe amount required in throne gelds is appended to this report. Note, an advisory letter has been sent to the Departamento Munitionorum, recommending that the Departamento conduct its own internal inventory investigation to determine whether planetary object GX 7021 has fulfilled its sacred obligation to provide recruits for the Astra Militarum. Amazing. Yeah, not exactly uncommon for entire planets to be lost due to a rounding error, you know? An ancient-looking woman in a voluminous robe peers at you critically through her ocular. There was a smudge on the screen that looked like one word. Her ocular lenses when you descend into the bowels of her bureaucratic domain. Another noble bypassing the queue under the pretext of just wanted to talk? All you highborns ever want is just to ask. But what about protocol? That's what I'm asking. Who is going to follow protocol? Jai glances at you and whispers, "What? So I paid off a few clerks to let us skip the queue, Shireen. Your time is more important to me than any little formalities." Very well, just don't stand there. Don't just stand there, you're here now. Or do you think the Master of Seals has nothing better to do than receive unexpected visitors? The old woman beckons over a servo skull floating nearby. Begin entry, current hour, current turn, current cycle, 41st millennium. Metal manipulators immediately begin feverishly clacking, taking dictation. Don't you know who I am? Ophelia von Valancius, sole heir of rogue trader Theodora von Valancius, may the throne's radiance guide her path on the other side. In a practiced move, the Master of Seals twists her magnifying ocular lens and examines the ledger in front of her, the sole person to publicly assert their claim, to be precise. The old woman smacks her lips in satisfaction and nods curtly. Of course I know who is standing before me. It is my job to know. Jai shifts, deliberately putting her jeweled augmetic on display. Does that mean that my reputation has preceded me as well, esteemed Damar? No, I have received no reports about you. What is this place? The Master of Seals raises her eyebrows in surprise. You are in the very heart of the palace of the Adeptus Ministorum. Day and night, hundreds of thousands of prefects, ordinates, scribes, servants, and servitors carry out their duties to humanity and the von Valancius dynasty here, never setting foot outside its boundaries for decades at a time, but knowledge comes through comparison. There are entire worlds belonging to the Ministorum, so this place is but a humble cog in the blessed machine of the Imperium. Tell me about yourself. I am the law, and I oversee order in this section of the Coronis Expanse, as well as on the worlds of the Von Valancius Protectorate, in accordance with ancient covenants made with your ancestors. I hold the power to grant petitioners what they seek and to punish criminals for failing to carry out the Imperium's will. Jai continues to whisper. She's ancient enough herself. Look at her. She's a bona fide living mummy. Tell me about the work of the Adeptus Administorum. The Master of Seals tuts in displeasure. One would think the Protectorate's heir has no care for her tongue, if she is so willing to wag it, to the point of blistering. However, I, despised servant of the Emperor that I am, do not possess the gift of unallocated time. Let us proceed to the matter of your application. My companion wishes to obtain a Mercatum Tabula Officiale. The Master of Seals peers over her ocular lenses at Jai in disbelief. Then she looks at you. I take it you are her sponsor? In that case, you must submit a written application in conformity with template number 404.01, as well as written permission for the processing and notarization of the personal data of your sacred personage. Without it, I cannot issue Headmistress Hedari, the form for collecting the seals required to obtain the Mercatum Tabula Officiale, the certificate of an official trade representative. At these words, the Satcharian smile drops from Jai's face. Seals? What seals? We will discuss that when Ophelia von Valancius has prepared the primary documentation. There's no way of getting around these formalities. Fear the wrath of the Immortal One, your ladyship. What would become of your protectorate, or even the Imperium itself, if every person did what you were proposing? No. Lex Imperialis, Volume 249, Paragraph 18-2. Amendment of the 12th cycle of the previous millennium clearly states, actions that circumvent the sacred law of the Imperium in pursuit of personal gain are a manifestation of human weakness, which is subject to eradication. I will complete application form 40401. The perfectly sharpened quill scratches pleasantly on the parchment, but for the first few minutes the obfuscatory phrasing, footnotes, amendments, you are forced to write out the same details over and over about you, the Protectorate, Theodora von Valancius, Jai, and then also every living person who bears your family name. If you do not know all the required information, you must complete supplementary forms. The Master of Seals nods in approvement and stows the scroll into a tube labeled with your name. Next is the consent form for processing and notarization of personal data of your most sacred personage. The Master of Seals animatedly draws her cogita quill across the surface of a data slate, paying no attention to you. Give your written consent on the presented form. The scroll is whipped away into another tube by the Master of Seals. Protocol executed, application received, processed, approved. The servo skull scribe taps out each word after its mistress's pronouncement. Come on, esteemed Damar, what's that you were saying about seals? The old woman unhurriedly holds out a printed scroll to Jai. Here is your document, Mistress Hadari. Unfortunately, it does not yet have legal force. I can certify it as a sacred Marcatum Tabula Officiale. Once it has received 2 seals of approval, they are easy to obtain. In the Imperium Court, Administratum Servitors have been handling such tasks for over 150 cycles. There is one such servitor here on Dragonus in the Rogue Trader's Palace. The second is duty-bound to keep the seal in the Telecos Epsilon system. Oh, God. Why can the seals not be affixed here in the Administratum? According to Amendment 3-C/8, implemented by the Perfectus Estina II of Dragonus, one of the seals must be kept in the palace of the ruler of the Von Valancius Protectorate, remaining a symbol of the unbroken link between the Sacred Warrant and the Adeptus Administratum. The second seal, the ocular lenses perched on her nose click as she rifles through moldering scrolls with her wrinkled fingers, is held in the Telecos Epsilon system in accordance with degree OL-008/ZM. Unfortunately, after a fire 200 cycles ago, all that remains of the original decree is an addendum certified by an unknown adept with the initials AA. No instructions repealing this degree were ever received from Holy Terror, therefore the seal remains where it ought to be. There was a thing during my earlier years of service when I performed the duties of a secretary in charge of logistics reports at a local administratum office. Your words, Master of Seals, bring back memories of which I am not the least bit fond. Why am I obliged to handle such a task myself? Decree 424, Clause 79. Amendment 8 of the law on certifying a Mercatum Tabula Officiale with sponsorship of a bearer of warrant of trade. The sponsoring rogue trader must be present at the placing and certifying of each seal. If this requirement is not met, the document will be deemed invalid. Okay. Master of Seals nods with satisfaction. Please do return once you have prepared the documents. Oh, what a nightmare. Okay, well, you know, that went great. We haven't even been to that sector, have we? I don't know. Possibly. I also don't really know what to do now, because we need to investigate the raids on the planet, but I couldn't find anyone in the palace to talk to about this. Mr. Sadari, my patience is not easily exhausted, but you are coming very close. I shall repeat myself again. No, I will not be issuing you any seal, not in exchange for your honest word, nor for a bribe. Go on. Anytime. I can see the family resemblance with Abelard now. You cannot see farther than your own nose, my dear Clementia. It wasn't a bribe, it was a gift. Now about that seal. Let the rogue trader decide. Bad news. She's my girlfriend. Your ladyship, I apologize for the ugly scene, but might I ask that you rein in Mistress Hidari and put a stop to her inflammatory actions towards me? As the Exalted One as my witness, Shireen, I've tried everything I could to spare you any unnecessary headache over the seals of the Mercatum Tabula Officiale. I even showed this aid with a temper worse than a sandstorm, a certificate of your signature, but your Chancellor merely kept batting me away with the flail of baseless denials. I suspect that the reason for this has nothing to do with my humble personage. Clementia purses her lips and glowers at Jai. Oh no, this isn't about me at all. Jai narrows her eyes as she peers into Clementia's face, until the latter finally looks away. I see. Well, Chancellor, will you tell us yourself, or should I help you? What is the matter, Mistress Versarium? I'm afraid that my words may anger your ladyship. Clementia lowers her head in shame as if offering it up to be removed from her shoulders. The seal you're looking for was lost over a quarter of a century ago. Her ladyship Theodora von Valancius ordered a new one to be delivered from the Imperium, but, as you well know, we are a long way from Holy Terra, and with warp storms ravaging the Coronis expanse, we've been unable to receive a replacement to this day. Well, this is the wrong seal, though. Could this be the seal in question? This is, without a doubt, the Administratum seal from Winterscale's realm. But why is it the original and not a copy? I think I understand. Well, the laws of the Imperium do not prohibit heirs of other houses from using the seal in times of need. I'll order to have servants of the machine cult create a duplicate as to avoid such embarrassing predicaments in the future. There's something I wish to discuss with the Chancellor in private? Oh no, by all means, Shireen. I dare not waste more of your precious balm that is your time on matters related to me, if I may excuse myself. Turns out I don't have anything to talk about. I'm at your service at any time, day or night, your ladyship. Well, who the fuck do I talk to now, then? Troubling news from Janice, your ladyship. While digging an irrigation ditch in the workers found a Xenos obelisk made of unknown material. It was delivered to a laboratorium and subjected to a number of tests, one of which caused a reaction. The obelisk generated a low-frequency vibration, and the events that followed were catastrophic. A series of anomalies were recorded in the Epsilon 2 Majoris region. It is almost like Janus itself is fighting us there. Many logistical chains have been disrupted. The only people who visit the uncontrolled territory are the wretches fleeing deeper into the region in greater and greater numbers. The observers report strange fires in the sky at night, completely imperceptible to the augurs. The Adeptus Mechanicus recommend we fence off the afflicted area. According to their hypothesis, this anomaly is the world's attempt at self-recovery, and therefore should be studied, not interrupted. What exactly is happening there? The vegetation demonstrated a remarkable ability for wild growth. It took the plants only 2 days to overrun the agri-complexes in the region. Extinct species of local megafauna have been spotted in the newly formed jungle, aggressive and acting in an unnatural cohesion. How are the wretches involved? We do not know. It's as if they all received a signal telling them to abandon their work and rush deep into the afflicted territory. We purged most of the miscreants per your orders. Only a few dozen at most managed to sneak into the region. Permission to advise granted. I await your proposals. The age of Janus is rising up. It is a lucky coincidence that Janus harbors specialists who are not only experts on controlling life, but on destroying it as well. Even though reports from the Magus Biologus Capella bear no mention of the storage of weapons of mass destruction, I have no doubt that they do possess some. They always have some lying around. I see no reason not to let them use them against this, whatever it is. Deployment of fortified research station in the afflicted sectors is recommended. The benefit of gathering more information justifies the increased casualty rate among personnel. The sickly creatures know more about this persistent growth than we do, something we must amend quickly. We should catch some mutants and force them to cooperate. That way we can learn what it is we're dealing with. I think we should just research it. Set up research outposts in the afflicted sector. May the Omnissiah be merciful to the souls of those who will give their lives in the name of obtaining knowledge. The scouts who ventured into the heart of the afflicted region discovered ancient Xenos creations emerging from the ground. The afflicted region reacted to the incursion by expanding and swallowing up some of the neighboring agri-complexes. Fortified observation stations were set up in the largest cluster of ruins. The priceless data and artifacts collected there will be paid for with the lives of the many watchmen who fought against the onslaught of Janus's enraged wilds. Tremendous. Apparently we can do an upgrade here. Can we do anything good? A cure for sloth is going to be to drug the food, I bet. Since the grimy masses are so lazy, a wise lord will add substances to their daily communion that ensure obedience and diligence. Once purified and distilled, these truly miraculous plant-based chemicals will make a commoner forget their fatigue and their purposeless pastimes. And once their body is burnt out and withered, they will simply be replaced by a new worker. Dark Sages. Not all servants of the Omnissiah firmly adhere to the catechism of maintenance and operation. The Malatex are defrocked clergy and other similar outcasts who wander the Coronis expanse in pursuit of undesirable knowledge, teetering on the edge of a schism. The protector who gives them shelter, safety, and resources for their research will earn their gratitude. The Caspalica mission has connections among the Malatex and can secretly assemble an entire coven of the unholy sages on Janus so that they may intrepidly study the mysterious Xenos artifacts in abundance on this world. Wait, why is this not red? I can't do this one. I thought I could because it wasn't red. The inhabitants of Janus are restless. The populace may be placated by turning agri-complexes into impenetrable fortresses. Grants an additional area attacks that affects all adjacent cells around the wielder. It doesn't do that much more damage, though. Well, actually, it doesn't really do... Like, most of the weapons do that much damage at this point. The inhabitants of Janus are restless. The Adeptus Mechanicus are ready to run experiments on serfs to create improved enforcers for the defense of the agri-world. Brother, let's drug him. let's give him some stimulants. Now let's go find the seal. Do you have it? Yes. I require a seal to certify a Mercatum Tabula Officiale. The secretary nods energetically. Of course, it would be an honor to assist the rogue trader. Wait but a few minutes, your ladyship, and your humble servant will have your seal ready. Jai's expression is pensive as she twists a lock of hair around her metal finger. Interesting, Shireen. I assumed we would be dealing with servitors, but no. Some places in your domain still have this work being performed by people of flesh and blood. I beg your pardon. What's this about servitors? I've faithfully performed my sacred duty to the Imperium and the Administratum all my life, and guarding the seals is a part of that. And after half a century, not a single seal damaged. I keep them in a special case, and I oil the handles every month, as the rules stipulate. Jai shrugs. I'm merely repeating the words of the Master of Seals on Dragonis. Servitors have replaced an entire category of lowly bureaucrats assigned to the Von Valancia's planet around 10 years ago. But after 70 years of service and not a single directive. Not from Holy Terra or from Dragonis. A complete breakdown in communication. What a farce! What an insult against all processes. Scarlet patches blossom on the secretary's pale face. But this is easily remedied. If the Administratum requires such a servant, then I will immediately begin preparations for servitization. The will of the Lex Imperialis is supreme. Do not do that, though. Like, d- don't. Jai nervously licks her lips. She clearly did not expect this response to her remark. Attilius, I do not think the Exalted One has any particular desire to see you lobotomized and turned into a mindless clanking ghoul just because someone somewhere changed a law. Attilius, there is no need for that. Yes, any servitor can place a seal, but can it do so while granting me a sincere smile or impressing me with its impeccable finesse and attention to detail? I think not, but you can. After lots of prevarication, Attilius's hunched figure sags. Of course, you are right. I will continue to serve Janus and the von Valancius Protectorate as before. And today I will dispatch a request for copies of edicts issued by the Imperium over the last 50 years. Who knows what else we have missed here on Janus. Jai lets out a breath, obviously relieved. That is wonderful, Attilius, just wonderful. Just don't go poking at your eyes with a long needle, at least until you receive a direct order to do some from your precious administratum. Here you are. The secretary proffers the sealed certificate with care, and may the Emperor bless your path. All right. Great. Busy work, collection completed. Back to the administratum we go.
Lord Captain, urgent report. We've received an astropathic message from Regent Aranto Orsilio. The navigators are concerned about the fate of Cassia, who disappeared from Urok 5. The Regent is requesting an update on her current status, and he has also inquired about the possibility of a personal meeting to negotiate and to arrange the return of the Lady Navigator to her house. The psycho-emotional coding of the received message betrays acute concern, but it also contains something that the astropaths have failed to put into words. If you'll excuse my forthrightness, I feel it is necessary to tell House Orselio the truth. Otherwise, a conflict with the Navis Nobilite is possible, which, given the current state of the Coronis expanse, will only play into the hands of the enemies of the Imperium.
How did the House of Orselio even learn that I have Cassia?
I wish I knew, Lord Captain. It is troubling indeed. Perhaps we have a spy on board, or Regent Arento is bluffing. In either case, I believe we should respond. Navigators are extremely powerful and useful allies to have.
Tell the House Orselio that Cassia is safe and that the rogue trader would be honored to meet in person.
I'll see to it, Lord Captain. The astropass will transmit your consent. Representatives of House Orselio will be waiting for you on the capital world Jagonis.
Convenient.
Receiving members of the Navis Nobilite is always a delicate matter. Please make sure to discuss the details of this meeting with your Chancellor upon arrival.
Understood.
Lord Captain,
I bring woeful news. A prelate Hector Carocius of the Order of the Hammer has passed away. Immediately after the launch of the orbital Vox Spire, he entered the halls of a recording and, having sat on the command throne, was granted a vision. For over 3 days, prelate Hectorius preached about Saint Cognitus being reincarnated in a body made from the saint's own holy relics. This spiritual feat depleted prelate Hectorius's strength, and he peacefully departed for the emperor's throne shortly after the sermon's conclusion. The Order's elders believe this to be a sign that Saint Cognitus's relics, currently stored on planets throughout the expanse, must be brought together. The Order is preparing for the election of a new prelate, under whose guidance it will undertake this holy mission. The majority of the votes are divided between Prioress Luganalia, well known for her fervor, and the merciful Celera Tychon. The minority of the Order sees the Archinemonus Nigmus, a humble and reasonable man, as their prelate. That was really hard to read, dude. Does Prelate Hectorius' death not strike you as odd? I'm afraid it does not. The esteemed Hectorius began his service as a battle missionary and has long grown weary of the peaceful life befitting a man of his status. He yearned for a worthy spiritual feat, and when presented with the chance, served as the voice of a saint. He gave what little strength remained. When he died, he was exhausted, but content. How does the Order intend to carry out St. Cognitus's mission? The Conclave aims to procure all of the relics that once belonged to St. Cognitus, all that can possibly be procured. Given that the saint is a legendary figure, many items in the Coronis Expanse have an alleged connection to him. However, it seems unlikely that any of the relics' owners will be eager to part with them. The answer to the question of how the Order of the Hammer is going to retrieve them depends on the identity of its next prelate. I wish to know more about the candidates. Prioress Lugnalia was converted by Hectarius on one of the heathen worlds. She then served as his bodyguard for many years and eventually became the protector of the Order's reliquary and the leader of a military branch. As for Brother Tychon, he is an aristocrat by birth. He had an excellent education and could have lived in luxury had he not renounced secular life for the sake of ascetic vows. He is intelligent, thoughtful, well-read, and most importantly, genuinely merciful. A rarity. A few things can be said about Oikonomonas Enigmas. He has never been famous for his prowess in battle or his sermons, but the monastery has never wanted for anything on his watch. He is a most reasonable and unobtrusive individual. What will my companion say? I have sympathy for Prioress Lugnalia. Let her meet with Reverend Hieronymus on footfall. Should he accept her as a worthy leader, we ought to support her. A careful and sensible Oikonomonas sounds like a safer bet to me than a fanatic or a clever aristocrat. The voices say that he has a few paltry secrets, and knowledge of those secrets guarantees us his loyalty. Brother Tychon. He and I have met back when he was called Tychon Drivestem. He wasn't a monk back then, he was a grandson and heir to Urbend, governor of Dragonus. An honorable young man with a spark in his eyes. His ascension would mean much to the Drivestems. This guy sounds like the best option. Apparently he's smart, nice, it sounds like he's got the full package. Abelard, see to it that House Drivestem thanks us for the assistance we provided to their kin. Will do. I bet Urband never thought the boy would be of any use to his family. Now we will have to endure a decade of him boasting about the Drivestem blood that always strives for great heights. Brother Tychon has been chosen as the prelate of the Order of the Hammer. Peaceful emissaries departed from Foulstone for many planets to form alliances and reinforce spiritual ties with the holders of St. Cognitus's relics. The diplomatic mission will undoubtedly require sizable financial support. House Drivestem has been informed of the honor granted to their family and humbly requested to cover all expenses related to Prelate Tychon's endeavors. Nice. Now, let's check the other colony stuff. Oh, it's because they're not selectable. It's because they overlap with a different one, I guess. Indulgences, no. Can't actually do anything on here except the indulgences, which I will not be doing. Lord Captain, after the decompression of Lady Theodora's secret workshop on Kivia Gamma, an epidemic of mysterious tech leprosy has broken out. Augments mutate into distorted forms, killing their hosts and the machines. Even entire assembly halls break apart into fragments that devour each other, melding into grotesque and insane forms. The Omega-18 Manufactorum, the epicenter of the epidemic, is cordoned off, but the disease will burst out of there sooner or later. What is known about this sickness? We have not faced anything like this before. The plague only affects mechanisms, forcing them to transform and lose all functionality. Nobody knows the nature of this disease and how it's found its way into Lady Theodora's secret workshop. It is possible that some secret research was being carried out there. I would like to listen to my advisors. Eradicating the infection is our highest priority, but to completely eradicate the Manufactorum epicenter would mean inflicting serious damage to our resource supply. This unit, I can propose another method of purging. However, the sacraments of the Omnissiah that are available to me cannot be revealed to the laity. I ask that you place your trust in me. Shireen, do not be so hasty with this purge. This phenomenon may be of interest to other specialists. There are many who do not agree that all knowledge belongs solely to cogs. What appears to be a plague could hold amazing possibilities. If we could isolate the manufactorum and let these inquisitive minds inside, they would happily compensate us for the loss of the production capacity. I've suppressed 18 different epidemics aboard the flagship, and our officers have experience in setting up quarantines. We'll send them to Kivia Gamma to lead the tech purgator squads. They'll not return from the epicenter until the infection is eradicated and the preventive excursion zone is taken down. Abelard, send our officers to organize the quarantine and purge. It will be done, your ladyship. By the heroic efforts of the tech purgators, the manufactorum had been purged of disease, sector by sector. The affected machines and dead bodies have been ignited with sacred plasma. The tightened quarantine measures imposed by the more experienced officers have prevented the incorruption from entering other manufactorums, and the disease did not spread any further. Fantastic result. More than I could have ever asked for. Now, what's this one? Instability detonator. Can be used to immediately remove bleeding, burning, or toxin element effects from enemies in a 10-cell radius. These enemies receive stacks of toxic bleeding. The Magus Metallurgius are proposing a massive tectonic plate detonation to awaken the planet's great volcanoes. Smelting shops housed inside these flaming vents can produce plasteel of incredible purity. The earthquakes, tectonic instability, and ash clouds that will forever envelop the sky of Kivia Gamma are a small price to pay for success. This front-focused armor design concentrates the thickest adamantine armor plates on the ship's prow compartment, allowing the ship to break through heavy enemy fire during a relentless push. +4 to prow plating. The ram of the flagship causes internal fires, the number of fires depending on the size of the target. It's kind of hard to ram someone, so I'm not crazy about that. A mysterious explorator ship, the Hexalation, has landed on the world's surface. The tech priests graciously inform the authorities that they have taken control of nearby manufactorums in order to perform the rites of ship maintenance, and have made servitors of the worker units deployed there. These servants of the Omnissiah request enormous quantities of priceless materials without saying a word as to the purpose of their visit or the details of their mission. They've expressed their gratitude for the assistance and vaguely promised a reward commiserate with the planetary authorities' contribution. This auger system is connected to the mighty cogitation blocks offered by the explorators as a gift to the rogue trader. Their computing power is so great that the augers can pick up even the slightest vulnerabilities in enemies' defenses. And profit factor goes up. Yeah. Let's see. Dragonus. The genetic purges will be stopped. This world needs working hands. Okay. Requirements none. Nice. Issuing this decree will significantly tighten production quotas, dooming laggards to be replaced into corpse starch, which will encourage the most diligent servants. Let's not. According to the new doctrine, the disenfranchised will be servitorized or disposed of through hazardous work. Absolutely not. More and more ships arrive in orbit around Dragonus. The agreement with the Navy allows the deployment of a permanent dock for void ships and repositories. Critical hit chance against pirates? How specific? It is worth a escort ship? I would fucking love to have another ship. Absolutely. Oh my god, you can't imagine how much I've wanted another ship, dude. I will definitely take that opportunity. I've returned. Here is your paper, complete with seals. The ocular lenses on the old woman's nose emit a subtle hum as she adjusts the magnification. Yes, oh yes indeed, it is perfect. The seals are authentic, so we may continue with the certification procedure. Follow me, please. Could be worse. Is the lobby really this dramatic? Oh, it's gotten worse. This is your queue, and oh no! This is your queue, and your ticket number is... The old woman's ocular lenses hums as she zooms in on the paper in her hand. 394. When it is your turn to be seen, the ranking prefect will review your Mercatum Tabula Official. You will have a bit of a wait, but it will be worth it in the end, yes? Is this some kind of joke? The Master of Seals peers at you over her ocular lenses. Hardly. In accordance with Decree DA 58, Clause 201, citizens of the capital world of the Von Valancius Protectorate must submit their petitions at one of the assigned windows of the waiting hall. The decree makes no mention of the rogue trader being exempt from this rule. It's okay, brother. Do not worry. I've been training my whole life from this moment. I'm from England. If there's one thing we know how to do, it's queue. If I must queue, then queue I shall. Then I bid you good day. May the law and the Emperor keep you. Okay. Where do I queue? I'm ready. I'm prepared. Ah, here we go. The queue hums with thousands of voices. Someone has rolled out bedding and is settling down to sleep. Someone is playing some bizarre musical instrument. Many are praying. Several high-born petitioners are debating who here is on the most important business. You have to admit the magnificent administrative machinery of the Imperium isn't without its rough edges. Jai smiles sheepishly, eyeing the queue. But what a thrilling adventure this is turning out to be, Shireen. I've never seen anything like it before. And sometimes it's good to take a break from constant traveling and to give all the hot-blooded newcomers a chance to cover themselves in glory without us in the way. Yawn. The minutes drag by, intolerably slow. Somewhere in the queue, a child is howling at the top of its lungs. The palace adepts are sedately moving documents from one pile to another, shuffling papers. Several petitioners have gathered in a huddled area and are swapping rumors, while someone has laid down for a nap on a nearby bench. You've whiled away 30 seconds of your wait. You wonder how long you'll have left to go. The people are constantly moving, coming and going, changing places or simply disappearing from view. On your first attempt, you count 258 petitioners. On your second attempt, you count 244. On your third attempt, the next batch of unlucky souls is ushered into the hall, and you lose count. 8 hours. In the last 8 hours, the only thing that has changed in the waiting hall is the warden shift. The petitioners in the queue placidly await the blessed hour when their appeal will be heard by the high-ranking servants of the Imperium. The entire queue perks up to a sudden announcement. Number 285, proceed to the available window. Throne take me, what torturous trial have we let ourselves in for? Jai almost wails in despair. This game is fucking funny, dude. This is such a good 40k game. Because, like, 40k started as satire. And, like, a lot of games seem to forget that. This game is very aware that 40k is meant to be satire. It's amazing. So much precious time lost, and we only moved 3 places ahead. At this rate, we'll be old and grey before we get out of this queue, Shireen. Do not forget, you are... Do you have a better idea? You wound me, Shireen. Jai Hadari always has a better idea. What would you say to making the good folk ahead of us hurry up a little? Just a smidge. Her eyes dart playfully over the faces of the people around you. The simplest way is to make those lowly subjects bow down before the blinding radiance of our title, Shireen. The second option requires a little more patience. I've already found our first victim. The compassionate citizen who is standing 50 places ahead of us in the queue. Simply offer the right words to unlock his heart, and he'll gladly swap tickets with you. And also you have the power to solve the problems of some of the petitioners, removing their need to visit a coveted window. After all, is there anything an ordinary citizen could want that is beyond the power of the Conqueror of the Stars to grant? Open fire on the crowd. We shall solve the problems of the common people. A wise decision, Shireen. Cold traders always say if you can solve a problem with hard cash, then that's just the cost of doing business. I was kind of hoping there would be... Oh, fuck. Has the window moved? Oh, God. I moved the OBS window. God damn it, there's been a black line there for I don't even know how long. God damn it. Jai gives you a conspiratorial wink and backs away slightly. Oh, exalted one, could today be my lucky day? No longer will I have to stand in this hall waiting day and night for my turn to come, for this kind lady of House von Valencius is a benefactor of the downtrodden and has solved my problem.
What's that?
Esteemed lady, take pity on this poor youth as well. I'll give you everything I have, I swear before the Emperor. Only help me solve my problem. We do not need everything, poor wretch, only your place in the queue. Listen to the young man. The young man in work overalls comports himself with unusual grace for a commoner. My lady, I've been in this queue for 24 moons already trying to get a permission slip to wed my fiancée Zazie. Unfortunately, the servants of the administratum refused to grant it without the signature of a high-born sponsor. Hello? What are you doing? Out of my way! Elbowing aside onlookers left and right, a richly dressed lady with a beauty mark augment above her lip charges towards you. Esteemed lady, my 8th offspring has lost his mind. He has decided to renounce his family, his noble title, and his talent as a healer, all for the sake of some tattered waif from the middle levels. A union with a commoner will put an end to his studies at the university. But should Dragonus and the Officio Medicae be deprived of a capable chirurgeon just because of surpassing fancy? Zazie's a healer too, and she helps the people of the Hive a great deal more often than any lily-white chirurgeon with a diploma. I do not want to live a life of idleness in the spires of Dragonus like you. Not when I know there are thousands of unfortunate people in the lower levels who need my help. You wish to study alongside your beloved. Very well. I hereby grant you ownership of the Dragonus University of Medicae? What the fuck? I thought that was just going to be the agree option. Congratulations, sir. You now own the university. The young man blinks in astonishment. What? Yes, of course. This is just what I'll do. Thank you for your generosity, my lady. This is a miracle. The idea is just too funny to say no to. Like, there's no way I could ever pick anything else after seeing that 4th option, dude. It's too funny. You have an interesting way of doing business, Shireen. I'll keep that in mind. Jai's shrewd eyes alight with interest as she watches the young petitioner leave. I mostly did it because I wanted to spite his mother, though. Like, oh, you think you'll get nowhere because he wants to marry this girl, huh? I'll fucking show you. After allowing you a brief pause, a hunched ragamuffin approaches you. The old man's toothless mouth breathes out a putrefying cloud of air as he speaks only 3 words.
Death for life.
Jai peers over the man's shoulder to read his crumpled form. You are here to request mortification, so that your organs go to your granddaughter as an inheritance. She will hardly want your worn-out body parts, old-timer. The ragged man shakes his head and covers his face with his wrinkled hands.
Servitor disposal.
Only now do you notice the tattoo on his right hand, the symbol of the Adeptus Administorum. And after several interlocking chains, it seems this old fellow is the property of a prefect of this palace. Jai looks at the man's form again, and rears back in horror. The granddaughter of this poor wretch was turned into a servitor 16 Dragonus years ago, and after a recent accident she was listed for disposal, and now this old man is volunteering to be spare parts for a soulless tin can. May the Exalted One keep me from such a fate. What a horrifying situation. This is one of the bleakest things I can imagine. It's... like, it's just so fucking sad. I will have my people buy your granddaughter's release and see to your welfare. You will also be subject, okay. Yes. It's okay. The old man's withered lips curve into the semblance of a smile.
May the Emperor keep you.
That's just too depressing to choose anything else. Interesting. So that is how the ruler of worlds and all the skies acts when she finds an unfortunate on the edge of her magnificent orbit. Jai nods pensively and beckons the next petitioner forward. A mature woman in a finely made but threadbare dress greets you. I heard you were helping those in need. Well, my family, it's devastated. My life's work, my shop selling rare hats, burnt to ashes. I'm living out my last years as a widow, alone in a dark, deserted manor, without servants, diversions, or delicacies befitting my status. Oh no, dude. That sounds so terrible. The woman falls silent, her brow raised in expectation of your response. Perhaps I can rebuild this hat shop of yours? The woman's beleaguered eyes sparkle to life. Why, that's a wonderful idea. Please take my place in the queue here. I insist. I will leave my details with your retinue and go. Well, that was amusing. I paid off the last few onlookers who were willing to give up their place. It's a pity they aren't all so amenable. Jai inspects the ticket she now holds and nods with satisfaction. We've moved considerably in the queue, Shireen, but you aren't ready to stop there, are you? I'll be honest, Shireen. I already tried to convince Henrix to use his interrogator's rosette. With sweet words and pretty songs I cajoled and wheedled, but he remains unmoved, like a rock whipped by the wings. A rock whipped by the wings? Perhaps he will be more amenable to a request from you. Sister Argenta, for instance. Jai's voice becomes noticeably warmer. She could engage the people in a prayer or tell a story about some saint or other in exchange for their queue tickets. The people will be amazed if you show them your tamed Xenos. They'll drop everything they're holding, including their tickets, to come goggle at her. I guarantee it. Now that does sound like the funniest option. We need to move forward faster. Use your tricks. I prefer to call it my wisdom learned through many years' experience, but I don't care about the precise wording just now. How do you wish to proceed, Shireen? It sounds so funny, though. It's obviously the most asshole-ish thing to do. But I think it might have funny dialogue. Your lights, I need you to serve as a distraction. The Eldari's clear gaze surveys the crowd. Elantak, I will do this, but only because you helped me to leave Janus. If any monkey tries to touch me, I will end them as ruthlessly as one uproots a weed. Kamrag, Elantak, I will do this, but only because I cannot bear to be surrounded by such a throng of monkey. Yoink. Yoink. Stop staring at me with your dull little eyes, monkey. I'm not a withered leaf. I will not go up in flames. Damn, that wasn't as funny as I hoped it would be. Commercian un brascordo. Such humiliation for a child of Ashran. To be nothing but a beast for monkey to gawp at. Look at it this way, my pointy-eared and elegant Xeno friend. You've gained more intimate knowledge of the Imperium's culture, and I have got us a ticket that puts us a few places ahead in the queue. I didn't steal it. I simply swapped it with ours when no one was looking. Alright. Sister Argenta, I believe these people have been gripped by despondency. A sermon from one of his daughters could restore them their determination. You were thinking about it as well. Argenta's gaze is as clear as the midday sky. Words of faith can heal any wound, even those that bleed not but doubt. I will help these people. Come closer, brothers and sisters, for I am about to tell you about the true faith and humility in the face of adversity. One day, they appealed to Saint Justina. A little bit of a animation issue there. As they say on Ifrit, there's no star more coveted than that which points to the Exalted One. Jai casts a sidelong glance at the Sister of Battle as the latter holds out several numbered tickets to you. These were given to me in thanks by the poor souls who decided to abandon their vigil in this palace of law and return to their worldly matters. Heinrichs, this is a perfect opportunity to make use of your privileged status. After all, you do not wish to suspend your mission for several cycles, do you? Casting his eyes over the waiting hall, Heinrichs heaves a resigned sigh. It would be unpardonable to waste so much time here. In the name of the Holy Inquisition, I order you to let this lady through. It is your sacred duty to comply to the Imperium to comply. The Inquisition? Here? Emperor save us, I better come back in 20 moons. Extremely appropriate reaction to finding out an Inquisitor was in the same room as you. Here, is this what you were so desperate to obtain? Heinrichs holds out 3 queue tickets dropped by petitioners fleeing the very sight of the interrogator. Do not ask me to resort to such tricks again. Alright, whatever you're thinking, do it. You don't need to tell me twice, Shireen. All's fair in love and bureaucracy. No, did you hear that? The certification officers will only see petitioners who have assigned a number ticket. Thanks to the Exalted One, I managed to get one in the next queue over. Take your time.
No one told me about any tickets. I've been standing here 7 turns already.
If these ashmags want to be tricked, I won't stop them. Jai smugly watches the agitated crowd, whispering among themselves and jabbing each other with sheaves of paper. The hum of activity returns to the queue. Petitioners exchange glances, clutching their paperwork. After a few seconds, you realize that the number being called by the servo skull for the 3rd time is the one on your ticket. We did it. Well, that went faster than I expected. It's been like 15 hours. That's pretty good time. We had to wait a little bit. We had a little bit of a wait, of course, but at times it was actually fun. Jai smiles wearily. One last seal, one more certification, and you'll be looking at official trade representative Jai Hidari. What are you waiting for, Shireen? Let's go. We have another couple of hours with the certification officer to get through. Oh. The certification officer leans over the document, his smoothly shaven head gleaming. His augmented ocular eyes whir as the lenses zoom in and out. With quiet scratching sounds, the cogita quills that serve in place of the officer's fingers make notes on a fine sheet of paper. The document is hereby certified, says the rasping voice through the metal jaw that is in its integrated vox. Return to the Master of Seals in order to proceed, and may his light and wisdom guard you. Next. We
I always
did
keep my
it.
options open.
We've defeated bureaucracy. The true final boss of this setting. Here, all of the seals placed by a certification officer. Wonderful. The Emperor blessed you with patience greater than that appointed to ordinary mortals. Allow me to verify the authenticity of your documents for the final time. The old woman holds the document close, so that they are almost touching her nose. Her mechanical ocular lenses clicking incessantly. Yes, yes. Confirmed. Everything is in order. And this one, the seal is smudged slightly. No! Jai's smile evaporates, revealing her true emotions. Void scorpion, scratch out my eyes. Now what? I suppose I can overlook it, given that the rest has been certified correctly and promptly. Congratulations, Jai Hidari. You are now the holder of a Marketum Trabula Official. Do not forget to repeat the certification process every 100 Terran cycles. Uphold the law of the Imperium proudly and honorably in the worlds of the Coronis Expanse. And one more thing. Loss of the certification is a grievous transgression, Mistress Hidari. Lose the original document and you will be unable to regain your status as an official trade representative, not even with the rogue trader's endorsement. Yes, yes, esteemed Damar, give me the certification already, come on! Jai's eyes dart over the Mercatum Tabula Official and shine with delight. Praise the exalted one who saw me through all these trials, Shireen. This is something to tell the grandchildren about. How a humble mortal became a trade representative of the Imperium. Let's not bother the Damar any longer, Shireen. Why don't we discuss our next steps on the ship? We did it. We're free.
Is there money to be
Finally.
made?
Whew. Oh. Fuck. Man. And that wasn't the final boss? That's crazy.